How exactly do you make your readers feel invested in your characters' relationships with one another? Is it through detailed body language descriptions and quirky dialogue? Is it through the tension you build on the page? What's the trick to writing good character dynamics, one where readers are excited to see two or more characters interact? Stick around to find out. Hey guys, Nour here, and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello! I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe for weekly writing advice videos. The relationship between characters is very important in a story. Lately, I've been watching God of War, and I was so impressed with the character dynamics between the father and his son. In fact, that's exactly what kept me watching the game. It wasn't the action or even the story, because I wasn't around the entire time Michael was playing, so I missed out on so much of what actually happens in the game. But every time I was able to watch the game, the father-son dynamic kept my interest, even if I didn't know what was going on plot-wise. So what was it that made the character dynamic strong? First, when it comes to writing character relationships, start by not making them simple. For example, if two characters are friends, they're not just content with one another 100% of the time without having conflicting ideas or beliefs. They don't just talk to one another with robotic positivity, only agreeing with what the other says and following each other's wishes. Because that would be boring. I mean, just think about relationships you have in real life. No two people agree on everything. Even husbands and wives argue sometimes and even disappoint each other. But that's exactly what makes relationships dynamic and interesting. So it's really important to give your characters traits that sometimes clash and even gets them in trouble with one another. Here's an example. Characters might have different personality types that makes one shy and the other extroverted, which gets the shy character in situations they're not comfortable with. It's also important to create good character backstories in order to have strong character dynamics. After all, a good backstory shapes a character and makes them behave and think in a certain way. This emphasizes the different traits characters have. For instance, if a character was traumatized as a child when his parents divorced, then he might currently have trust issues when it comes to romantic relationships, which would certainly make his relationship with any current partner a little rocky at times. That's why it's so vital to know your characters' backgrounds before you have them interact with those around them. Last but not least, you should make sure you have strong character arcs, because relationships change. Even if characters are close to each other at the beginning of the story, and they're close to each other at the end of the story, certain aspects of the relationship could have developed and changed. For example, a husband and wife could love each other before they have children, and they could even love each other after they have children. However, once they have children, they have new individual responsibilities that makes their relationship change. It's no longer about just the two of them. They now have kiddos in the mix whose needs come first. In contrast, you could have characters start out close and then slowly drift apart, or even characters who start out as enemies and then become closer throughout the story. This change in their dynamics makes their interactions more interesting and keeps us invested. And that's exactly why God of War had me watching. Every time I sat down and watched Michael play the game, I was so taken with the father-son dynamic. The story starts out with the main character being so tough, he doesn't know how to show his son his love. In turn, his son acts grumpy. But as the story goes on, the main character starts to soften a bit and open up to his son, and they become a stronger duo. So, no matter what kind of story you're writing, always make sure to develop strong character dynamics. And that's all I have for you today. I'm curious, have you recently read or written good character dynamics? Let me know in the comments. And if you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out weekly writing advice videos that will take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frayne and Lori B from my shoutouts here over on Patreon, as well as all my amazing patrons. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for your support. And remember, Nour for president!